Hey, it's Kelvin again, and I'm in the 5th grade, and I'm going to teach you how to add, subtract, and multiply decimals. So we're going to start with adding and subtracting decimals. And the first step is to make sure that all your decimals are lined up. And if they're not, you're definitely going to get this problem wrong. The second step is to add zeros if needed, and you don't do this in every problem, but you do them in some problems. Our third step is to add or subtract and make sure that your decimals are aligned. The fourth step is to check that decimal alignment one more time. Our question is going to be 231.32 plus 0.2341. And our first step is to make sure that all our decimals are lined up, and as you can see, they are. Our second step is to insert zeros as needed, and we don't really need to add them, but it's just to keep us on track, and as you can see, they're faint zeros. Our third step is to add or subtract, and we need to make sure that our decimals are lined up. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 plus 4 is 4, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 2 is 5. Then make sure we keep our decimals aligned. Finally, we'll bring down the 1, the 3, and the 2. Our fourth step is to check those decimals one last time, and as you can see, they're aligned. So the answer to our problem is 231.5541. Now we're going to move on to subtraction, and the steps for subtraction are the same as the steps for addition. So we're going to jump right in. Our problem is going to be 231 minus 0.2341. Let's look at the number 231. There is no decimal that is written, but there's an implied decimal after the number. We're going to put a faint decimal at the end of this number just to keep our place. And our first step is to make sure that all the decimals are lined up, and as you can see, they are. Our second step is to insert zeros as needed. And as you can see, we're going to have to insert 4 zeros at the end of 231. And our third step, we're going to subtract our problem. We can't do 0 minus 1, so we're going to have to change that to a 10. In order to change it to a 10, we're going to have to borrow from the numbers before that. And so 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 4 is 5, 9 minus 3 is 6, and 9 minus 2 is 7. Keeping our decimal in the same alignment, we're going to continue subtracting our problem. Next, let's bring down the 0, 3, and 2. The fourth and final step is to check those decimals one more time and make sure that they're aligned. The answer to this problem is 230.7659. I'm going to teach you how to multiply decimals, and there are 3 steps to multiplying decimals. And the first step is to just multiply the numbers. When you multiply the numbers, just forget about the decimals. Just pretend that they're not on the page. The second step is to count how many numbers are to the right of the decimal in your problem. The third and final step is to move the decimal in your final answer to the left the same number of spaces you counted in step 2. Let's look at the number 456. You don't add a decimal to the end of a whole number, but we're going to add an implied one. We're going to multiply 456 times 0.231. 6 times 1 is 6, 5 times 1 is 5, and 4 times 1 is 4. 6 times 3 is 18, write the 8 and carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16, write the 6 and carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 6 times 2 is 12, write the 2 and carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11, write the 1, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. If you add those numbers together, then you get 105336. Let's go to step 2. Count how many numbers are to the right of the decimal in your problem. In 456, there are no numbers to the right of the implied decimal. 0.231, there are 3 numbers to the right of the decimal. If we add those numbers together, 0 plus 3 is 3. That means that there are 3 numbers to the right of our decimals in the problem. Now let's look at the answer we got in step 1. The implied decimal is at the end of the number. Step 2 tells us that we need to move our decimal 3 places to the left. Our answer becomes 105.336. If we follow these 3 steps every time, then we'll have no problem multiplying decimals.
Nice hand!